more on the Raj Rajaratnam case. We are joined now by Thomas Curran. He's partner at Peckar Abramson. It's a white-collar crime specialist and the man Bernie Madoff's attorney calls the best lawyer on white-collar crime. Tom, good morning.
Good morning.
So you've been following the case from the get-go. It's now reached the summation part of the process. How do you think it's gone so far?
Well, I think it's gone pretty well for the defense. Be mindful that most federal trials in the order of 90% wind up in conviction because the rules do favor the government. But I think Mr. Dowd's put a really good case on. This might not be public in terms of public press releases and announcements and 8K filings, but there's proof of leak of knowledge and information to the markets.
I mean, Raj's attorney does, as John pointed out, he said, you know, Raj traded on the basis of public information. If it's public, you must acquit. Is it strong enough to kind of turn the jury?
In a criminal sense, it might be. It's an interesting case. I mean, look, the prosecution was certainly focused on it because they were focused on the tapes. Let me tell you about this really clear case that I have for you, ladies and gentlemen, for 4.5 hours. So
that alone, was that crazy in your view?
It's a long summation against one defendant with not a prolix number of counts and charges. It's fairly straightforward, but it does turn upon inside information is material, non-public, and the defense has shown some evidence that there was leakage to the market. Now, it might not be generally public, but if it's sufficiently public, then fine. But the government has tried to rebut that by showing that Raj knew that this was non-public. He was paying for it because he didn't have access to it.
Tom, somebody brought up the point that, you know, he actually lost money on one of the trades, and that maybe goes in his favor. Nonetheless, he lost money on that trade, but it was still on inside information. Yeah,
it's risky for the defense to raise that or focus on that too much because there were a whole bunch of others that he did make money on. So if that's the cost of doing business on insider information, the prosecution will argue, well, so what?
What about the defense? Do you think it was good or bad that they didn't put Raj on the stand?
I think that if putting him on the stand would have been very risky. The prosecutors are very smart and able people. And that would enable the jury to match the voice on the stand with the voice on the tapes. It's always a risk.
You know, we've been listening to those tapes. They feel so damaging. Are they? I mean, does that really hold the most weight with jurors?
They are. They're very damaging, but this one defense that shows that it may not have been generally public. There might not have been an 8K filing with the SEC or a press release. However, if it's public somewhat, and you can show that there's leakage to the market, then there is a defense here. Now, even if he were acquitted, the SEC is going to want to have a long conversation with him. But again, 90% conviction rate.
If you were the defense attorney, what would be the strongest argument? He's already had an hour yesterday. He's got more time today to make his case. And of course, the government comes back. What would you stress as a defense attorney? I
think he's right to kind of echo Mr. Curran in the O.J. Simpson trial. If this stuff is out there, and if I can show you, for instance, the announcement prior to the announcement of Warren Buffett taking a position and making a loan to Goldman Sachs, that Goldman Sachs, for no earthly reason, that stock is going up a little bit, I can show you that some of the public knew, and therefore it's not, in a criminal sense, beyond a reasonable doubt, remember, illicit insider trading.
The government gets the last word here.
Yeah, that's a toughie.
It is a toughie, isn't it? I mean, bottom line, how do you think this is going to go? You say percentage-wise, most of them go for the prosecution.
I think the prosecution has some very compelling evidence that, well, you know what, maybe there was leakage, but these tapes show you that he was paying for it because he didn't have access. It wasn't public as to him. So then it remains beyond a reasonable doubt insider trading and trading on material non-public information.
Think the defense will go 4 hours?
I think that would be a mistake.
Okay, going to leave it there. Tom, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Really appreciate it. Tom Curran, Peckar Abramson.